On this episode of the Mompreneur Show, I'm talking to Jennifer Osuch. She's a wife, a mother of 3 boys, and another fellow live streamer. She is a blogger at selfreliantschool.com and also has a membership site at selfreliantschool.com where she teaches others how to prepare food, how to can food, and how to be a self-reliant family. I'm your host, Vicky, and this is the show that features amazing stories of the most remarkable mom entrepreneurs. And today we'll be talking about just that, how Jennifer took her passion and turned it into a business. So many of us, of you watching us live right now, have a passion burning in your heart. And today the show is just for you because we will teach you how to take that burning passion and make it into a business. We'll also talk about how to involve your children in your business and how to not compare yourself in the business of entrepreneurship. So I'm so excited to have you on the show. Hey Jennifer, welcome to the show.
Hi Vicky, it's really great to be here. We'll just do that again.
Sweetheart, no. Nobody heard you. It was just like an intro, and I'm so sorry I didn't warn you about it. It's all good. I'm so happy to have you.
Oh, it's so good to be here. And you're just looking so beautiful today.
Oh my gosh, you're so sweet. And how live streams are, you always have to look your best and have all these lights on and all these preparedness stuff. And it's so funny because Jennifer, you're a fellow live streamer as well. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she gets me.
Yeah, it's really a lot of fun. I love doing it. It's one of the highlights of my week. I get to talk to people.
Exactly.
And I get to talk to people who come in to watch the show, and then I get to talk to guests. Sometimes I go solo, but often we have guests, and it's just really fun.
No, it is. I completely agree. Like today was like a weird day. I'm just like the technologies in the back end. You know how it is sometimes. But I'm so happy that we got started on the right foot. We got started in time. So I'm really, really happy to talk to you about everything. Like I really want to dig into live streaming, but I don't want to stand there too long because I know it's a very selfish topic right now.
I know.
Not everyone is interested in live streaming. Those of you who are joining us live, let me know you're here. And if you have any questions for Jennifer, please ask her because this is going to be an interactive show. Both of us are moderating the comments and we'll be answering questions. So it's going to be a lot of fun. All right, Jennifer, so could you share with us your journey? So you have selfreliantschool.com and you help moms, grandparents, parents, just people in general, how to prepare food, buy food in bulk, and how to store it. Could you tell us how in the world did you start in this niche? Because it's not very common.
No, it's not. It's kind of, it's kind of very specific. And, I don't know. I've just been doing all of these things for a long time. I was reading actually an article in a magazine one day, and because like I said, I've been gardening and dehydrating and canning, for a very, very long time. Yeah. And I was reading this article, and I am not the best. Well, I'm not the best speaker, and I'm not the best writer, and I have spelling issues and all of the stuff. Anyway, so I was reading this article, and I thought it said, how to grow peppers, right? And I was, thinking of it as a gardening article, and I looked at it, and it was like, no, it's prepper. So I was reading it, because it wasn't making sense, right? So I was reading it, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a prepper.
Oh my gosh.
So it's something that I've always done. I don't think I've always had a label for it, but I've always sort of, gone that direction in terms of how we've lived as a family. And really since I was really tiny, because my parents kind of raised me like that.
That's
so, and one day my husband was just like, you ought to start a blog about this. And so I did.
That's very interesting.
And come to find out that, there was other people that were trying to learn some of the things that I already knew. So I thought, I can be helpful here. So that's kind of how it started.
Oh my goodness. And so I love that you share that you wanted to be helpful, and you could be helpful because you don't necessarily have to be like this professional person who is like, has been doing this for other people and this pro and this. You just have to be like 2 steps ahead of someone in order to be able to teach someone. So I love that you share that.
Yeah. Well, I have been a teacher in public school, actually, and then I
so you are a pro.
Well, not in this area though, because I think this is a different level,
Yes.
So I have been a teacher, so I was confident that way, and I homeschool my kids, so I was confident that way, and I thought, well, maybe I can teach others these traditional skills, but it is a different world. It's not how I was taught to teach. It's a very different strategy and very different method. So, but I think I had some confidence. I'm like, yeah, I can do this. How hard can it be, right?
Wow, I love. Okay, so take us through like a timeline. When was this that your husband encouraged you? And like a little side note, your husband is so nice. That's amazing. Like he is your biggest cheerleader and encourager from what I've seen, which is such a huge blessing. So now back to how you started.
I started, I took his advice, and I started the blog, and I was even saying, I don't even know what to call this blog, and he just blurted out, we'll just call it Are We Crazy or What? And I did for a while. We were known as Are We Crazy or What? And, I did the blogging thing, and I posted and just sort of grew an audience for a couple of years. And then about 18 months ago.
So what year is this?
I guess we started about 2013, or I started about 2013-ish.
Okay.
And at that point, it was just kind of, like you were saying, or he said, just start a blog. And it was kind of a hobby thing. But it really quickly grew because I did start building an audience. And then about 18 months ago or so, we started actually, doing a business with the blog. We changed the name and all of that. And so now, we have a business.
Wow. Okay. So it took quite a long time to build the audience, but it looks, you have a huge audience, and I always tell this to my clients, to the audience, and always stress this on the show. Building an audience is so important. Like it's so huge. So can you imagine starting selfreliantschool.com without the audience that you have previously built?
I think it would have been a lot harder. Yeah. And so there is that. Because like I said, when I went into it, I didn't know anything about blogging. I didn't even know you could make a living online. I had no idea. Yeah. I literally was just trying to help people that, like I had been in, the position before where I didn't know something or I wanted to share something, and I was just trying to help those people. And I had no idea about any business models or how blogs were run or any of that stuff. And so I don't know. I think it's a trade-off. If you already know some of that stuff and then you come in and you start a blog or an online business, you may build an audience faster. But since I didn't know, I just sort of built it organically. And then it turned into a business. So I think that, depending on where your skills lie, you could do it either way.
Okay, so let's go back a little bit and talk about what does it take to build an audience?
I think just communicating with your audience and sharing with them and actually giving, before you ask. And so if you are, if you're sharing things that tripped you up and things that worked for you and really helping people, I think that that's the basis, giving value. I think that's the basis for building an audience.
Okay, so here's the thing. Is that you give your audience so much value, so much good stuff for free, because you're building an audience, and in the beginning you weren't even thinking about a business. But how did you start warming up your audience into buying something? What was that like? Because I know that some people freak out when you're trying to sell them something.
Yeah. Yeah, and I had that mentality too, I have to say. And basically what I did was I go into any debt or anything when I was building the blog. I had maybe like $50 a month or so, and that was kind of my, my fun money. And so I decided to spend that like on hosting and stuff like that. So I have, I had never gone and bought huge software or anything like that. So we just, we started small, and what I did initially was I looked for something, a product that I did not see in our niche. And what that was a planner that would help with food storage. Now, there were other planners out there, but they were online. And our audience is very, I want pencil and paper, just in case something happens to the computer, backup. And then also when you take pencil and paper like into your pantry, it's way easier to keep, an accountability, right? Exactly. And so I looked for something there was nothing like that in our niche. And so I created that. And I have a graphics background, so I was able to do that. I was lucky that way. But these days, graphics is really, there are so many programs out there, and it's not that difficult to learn. But I had this sort of desktop publishing background that was very helpful that way. So I developed this product, and from there, I got people to affiliate for me, and that was fun, and I built an audience that way as well. And so then I took the money that I made from that, and then I started the membership. So it was just a little bit at a time, and I just sort of threw it out there to see, actually I made so many mistakes with it you would not even believe, but since I did make those mistakes, I was able to learn from them, and I think that really helped me when I started the membership.
So can you share what kind of mistakes you made? I'm really curious now.
Sure. But the biggest one I made with that, biggest one I made with that planner was that I decided, because I love working with people and everything, but I'm like, okay, how do I get on top here? I need to do it bigger, better, faster, than everybody else, right? So I developed this planner, and it's like 108 pages. I mean, it's huge. It's like, and it's very complete. And I developed this planner, and I was like, okay, this is going to be my lead magnet. And I'm going to put it out there. This is going to be my freebie, right? And I'm going to build a list with this. And I did for a while. And then I realized that, oh my, this is way too much. And So what do you
mean by way too much?
It was way too much in the sense that people were just signing up just to get this planner. They were not, it wasn't a relationship. There wasn't anything left. I was just sort of, like you were alluding to before, there wasn't anything left. I was sort of just giving everything, and I wasn't holding anything back. And so that I was like, and so even some of my colleagues were saying, oh, Jennifer, you just really need to sell this. You don't give it away. Don't do that.
So can we talk about this for a little bit, for just a second? So Jennifer, this is really, really interesting because I am a kind of person that always like, here you go. No, I'm such a giver, and I've struggled with this too, because in my previous business, I created a video series. I literally gave everything away. Yeah. And that's a big mistake a lot of people make. It's giving everything away. And there's nothing wrong with holding it back just a bit. So after you took that off, what did you do to replace the planner for freebie?
Well, basically, I didn't even know that was the problem at the time, because what I saw as the problem was that people were signing up to my list to get this huge book, right? And like I said, there wasn't anything left, and so there wasn't. I had blog posts and things like that. So I'm not saying everybody, just came and got it and just left, but I was getting a lot of spam complaints because I had a small list at the time. And so what I did was I took that planner down, and I decided to go ahead and put it up for sale. And then I put in its place an email series. So I was like, okay. So I'm going to give some free content every day to people. And that worked. That worked really, really well.
Very, very interesting. And I mean, just as an example, and I want to say thank you to Renee and Olga who just joined. Hello, mamas. So good to have you. If you have any questions, please ask. I think Olga and Renee, this is like totally up your alley. But Renee, I know you know a lot of this stuff because you know Jennifer personally. Okay, so I want to touch upon this because when I need something right now, I Google it. So for example, I really wanted some hand lettering sheets, printables. And I just literally Googled free hand lettering sheets. And I found like a link and I hurried, just put my email address just to get the free printable sheets. I'm not really, and then like I get the email, I'm like, who is this person? Like I don't even know. So that's exactly why sometimes certain freebies don't work.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate you saying that.
Yeah.
Jennifer. That's awesome. So let's move on. So after you nurtured them in the list and you were giving them all these freebies, all this free information, how did you like, was it like a 10-day series where on like day 9 and 10 you offered them the planner, or how did that work?
No, it wasn't, because that was another mistake I made. I just gave away the information, and that was kind of it. And that was sort of a growing thing for me. Meanwhile, I had put the planner up for sale, and it was doing really, really well. So I was getting some of this, I was getting some ROI on that. And I just want to say hi, Angela, because Angela joined, and I know Angela, so thank you for being here. But I was getting some ROI on the planner at that point. And so I was still trying to figure out my email, because oh my gosh, I just figured it out, I think, this year. But because it's been a long struggle with that. But I did finally figure it out. And another thing that's really helped me is to start with the end in mind. So we have a membership, and of course that's something that we would like to offer to everyone. And so the way that we do it now is quite different, and that is that we have our main our main product that we sell, and so we give just a little taste of that as a freebie or a lead magnet. And then when to pay for traffic, to pay for Facebook ads and things like that, then we offer another kind of a lower dollar purchase, so that when we do advertise, that we get some return on that in terms of giving this product for the lowest possible price. And then of course they are then a customer of ours, not just somebody who is on our list. They're actually a customer, and then we can try to give them more value through our email series, and then through our show, and then hopefully if they like what they hear and see, they can sign up to be a member.
I really like that. I really like how what you said, that they buy a very low priced item to kind of cover the ads, Facebook ads costs. That is such a great strategy. That's exactly how my husband thinks. Like oh my goodness, I love that. Okay, so Facebook ads, you run those, and I think that's for, that's not, don't do that in your first year of business unless you know exactly what you're doing. Okay, so Jennifer, let's move on and talk about, so we talked about your struggles, the mistakes that you've made in your business, because everybody makes them, and it's so good to know, because that way it will help prevent our mistakes, and next time we'll work on a lead magnet, we'll be like, what did Jennifer say about her lead magnet? Don't give everything
Don't make it 108 pages. Don't do that.
I love that. Now, but how do you balance over delivering and providing value?
Yeah, that is a struggle sometimes. But I think that when, in our membership, the things that we teach, we just go over everything. It's kind of like a library almost. So if you're interested in canning or dehydrating, a lot of these things are seasonal. And I don't know about you, but as I get older, from season to season, it's really hard to remember the rules of this and that. And so our membership site, like I said, is kind of like a library. So when it's time to start canning again, you may want to review the safety videos and things like that. And hey, what if you've forgotten like an apple butter recipe or something like that? Then you can go and just watch that really quick before you go and can your apple butter, stuff like that. And then our things that we give away, our freebies and all of that, those include things like recipes and just little hints and tips and things like that. That's not everything, right? It's just something to say, hey, have you considered it this way? And, if that works for you, we have more. That's, kind of what we're trying to say.
Exactly. And I love that you mentioned recipes, because in the beginning, when I would hear entrepreneurs put a recipe in a PDF, a recipe that's already on their blog, I was like, what? Like, why would you do that? I could just go on your blog and get the recipe without signing up. But there's something about convenience that people love so much.
Yes.
They can save it on their phone. They can print it out. And especially, Jennifer, oh my gosh, you're so smart and savvy about this, because you really have your target market in mind.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
Like to think so anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I think it started off with the target audience being very much like me, my former self. I would love to have talked and been in a community with people who did these things. And then over time, it's become people that still like that, a lot of our members already know how to do a lot of this stuff, but they just want to have that camaraderie and community, and then some new ideas here and there. And then also we do have some of the students that come in and they're unfamiliar with a certain kind of preserving or cooking or what have you. So, over time it evolves.
Very, very interesting. So now you mentioned that there's other niches in your market. There's other people doing things that you are doing. How do you cope with the fact that the gal next door has released another video series on so-and-so, and she's getting all these people to sign up as affiliates, and she just did $1 million launch? How do you deal with that?
Well, in the beginning, I didn't deal with it very well. I was like, oh no, the world's falling, right?
Exactly.
But no, I think that, competition is good, and not just for not just for competing. It's good that, it moves you to a different level. And the thing is that when you're building something like a niche site like we have, the information is coming from you, and it's your perspective. So even if somebody is a member of another site, then they're learning from a different perspective, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I know that some people do. They're like, but I think it's like, if you had a little shop and it was right outside of a mall, and then you go through a door and there's this huge mall, it's like you standing in front of the door saying, no, you can't go in there, and that's just totally ridiculous if you think about it like that.
Exactly.
So the thing is that, I'm not one of these people who feel like you have to crush the competition or, that I'm always competing. I feel like that when I actually work with some people that I compete with, then everybody wins. So that's kind of my take on that.
Very interesting. So, thank you so much for sharing, first of all. And then how do you work with people who are in the same industry as you? Like, how do you reach out to them? Is there like magic words that you say that make them feel comfortable working with you?
I don't know if there's magic words. we have selfrelianceschool.com, but we also have a yearly event, and we sell a bundle, an ebook bundle. And so I have been privileged to work with a lot of people in our niche, and there's just nothing like pulling together and being able to pull something off like that. Because last year we had a great first year. As a matter of fact, we're going to do it again this year. So
what is it? Is it the homemaking bundle?
No, this is the Back to Basic Living bundle. And it's an
very interesting
ebook bundle, and we also have courses that you can sign up for, and some videos and downloadables, things like that. And so we have that. We're going to have that again this year, and so that has given me a lot of, just relationship building with other bloggers, and to see, how people are doing different things and sharing things. And then also it's a chance to help build up people, that might be new. And so, like I said, I think that if you go into it with a competition, I'm going to crush you, that's just, it's not going to be helpful for anyone.
Very interesting, Jennifer. I really appreciate your take on that. And it's so true. Relationship building is so important. Like, I mean, it's so much easier to get to the top together versus by yourself.
Yes.
So I really, really appreciate that. That's really interesting. If you ladies have any questions who are watching us live, please let me know. This is a really, really good time to ask. And thank you so much again for all the likes and for being here. I really, really appreciate you. So Jennifer, back to you. How do you involve your children in your business? Because I know that we talked about this before, and I know I've seen a few Instagram posts where I think I saw a video of your boys helping you pick cherries. That was
Yes.
super cute. So how do you get them involved? And they're teenagers, right? And so
Yeah.
how do you keep them involved without having like that sour attitude?
I don't. They have sour attitudes. They're teenagers. What can I do? No, the boys are actually, three of them are involved in the business, and they help with social media. They help with the bundle that, because we have to start many months in advance. So we're just revving that up right now. They help with that. My older son, he helps with artwork. And so over the years, I've just kind of given them a little bit and taught them how to do certain things, maybe like with my older son, like Photoshop, and I've given him some tasks to do. And it's a little bit slower than maybe hiring somebody to do it. But, in the end, they learn a skill, and then, you get to work with them. So I think it's a win-win, and it's really worked out for our family.
That's really cool. Like, I can only imagine how awesome it would be for Sam to do my graphics. Because I also hire people to do it, and it's like, it's awesome to keep the money in the family.
Yeah.
Because they need stuff anyways. So, and he's in the saving mode nowadays. So it's super cute. But of course, an 8-year-old can't do graphics just yet. At least not the ones that I want.
Yeah.
Right. So how did you figure out like what they love to do? Because if a child is not visual and have no interest in visuals and art and creativity whatsoever, how do you balance that? And like, how did you like have them take a test? Because I'm so geeky on that, so please forgive me. I'm like, here, take a personality test.
No, I didn't have them take a personality test. I've homeschooled them all their lives.
So you know them very well.
So I just kind of give them, things that I think they can handle. Because you're right. I've seen them, their learning style, and I've seen how it's evolved over the years. And so, and then, we were talking about competition. I have 3 boys, and we get a little bit competitive there. So, if my older one is doing something and my middle one's like, I can do that too, So I'm like, okay, no problem. Let me teach you. And so, it's just kind of, that atmosphere. It's just kind of fun. And then, and I think also that, because when I did start my blog, that took a lot of time away from them. And so they also realized, well, hey, I can spend more time with mom if I kind of work with her. Not that that's the only thing we do. We do other things as well. But at the same time, it was kind of their way of saying, oh, I can do that. And then, make mom proud. And so, that's been something that, it's just kind of a natural thing for them, like I said, because I've homeschooled them. And they're typical children. They want to do what mom and dad are doing, right? They want to do the same thing. So it's really worked out.
Of course. And I love how lighthearted you are about, and it's a really good thing. I don't know if lighthearted is the right word, but you're so positive and jolly about your boys and about raising them. Because I know I had like this really horrible day one day, and I totally vented to you about my boys and how hard this whole mompreneurship is, and how hard it is to balance the tension with this. You're trying to grow this thing, and they're like, mommy, needing you 24/7, which I know that they come first all the time, but it's so hard to sometimes realize that, like, when you're in the moment trying to figure something out. So how do you balance it? Because you went back to you started back in 2013. How did you balance blogging and raising a family? And homeschooling? Did you do this like early morning? Like what did your typical day look like back when you started out?
Well, it's evolved over the years. So in the beginning, it was more structured because I had, smaller children that needed more attention, and now I have more independent workers. So it's definitely evolved. No, I don't get up at the crack of dawn. Sometimes I stay up until dawn, but that's a different story.
Yeah.
No, it's just one of those things where what's most important today. And sometimes it's a blog, and sometimes it's the kids. Sometimes it's a business, and sometimes it's my husband. So
exactly.
I kind of have to ask myself that daily, and then just give my energy where it's really needed at the moment.
Ask yourself daily, what's important? What's the most important thing today? I love that so much. And it's kind of like batching. Like for on Mondays, I do the Mompreneur Show. Like everything is like the whole day. I'm just kind of working on it. And then there are days that I do batch family time too, which is, it works. It's different for everyone. And I appreciate you saying that, your kind of schedule has evolved over the years, because sometimes with the little babies, especially with mamas with toddlers, like Olga, you're here. I mean, she has little kids too, and then Olga Vakulic, you have little kids as well. So like it's so hard because you feel like you're in the season forever. I remember this. It's like, oh my goodness, when is this gonna end? And especially like in not to say when is this gonna end, where I'm like, but there are times when I feel like that, because you know what I mean, like when they're really little and they want your attention 24/7, and especially for the moms who homeschool. Oh my goodness. And I've homeschooled for the past 3 years, and it's been really, really hard. But now that they're in school, I'm like feeling this sense of freedom. So it does end at a certain point, and they do need you less. So I really appreciate you sharing that, because it gives hope for moms who are still really in the dark ages with the little babies. Because it's really hard. Okay, so Jennifer, we talked about comparison. We talked about getting started and turning your passion into an income. Let's talk about the advice, maybe personalized advice that you can give to mamas watching. We have some moms here that, I want to say welcome to moms. So sorry, I'm like asking you, and now I'm like totally getting distracted. Wendy, thank you so much for joining us. We're just talking about the dark ages, and I totally thought of you. Teresa, thanks so much for joining us, hon. I miss you. Haven't seen you forever. And Olga, I might have said hi to you, might have not. Thank you so much for joining us. So Jennifer, for moms who have blogs right now, I mean, there's so many of them watching us live right now who have a blog, who want to take this to the next level, whether it's a cooking blog or making food or making crafts. How can they take it to the next level? Like, what are the first steps that they need to take?
The first steps. Well, I think that the first thing that you need to do probably is just to assess what you're doing now and how much time it's taking, and if you're okay with that, and then realize that if you do go up to the next level, you're probably going to have to spend even more time, at least in the short run, to get that going. So if you feel like that, and I don't think that you should find more time, because us moms, we don't have any more time.
Exactly.
All of it is used. I mean, it's used up, right? And I totally get what you were saying before, because when I had my little one, when they were really little, I had 3 kids under 5, because there's only 3.5 years difference between my youngest one and my oldest one. So I totally get that. And the thing is just to think about what you can do, and decide if that is an important priority right now, because it might not be. It may need to wait for a couple of years or whatever, but that doesn't mean you can't work on it, and you can't maybe build an audience or something like that. So
I'm so happy that you're saying this right now. Oh my goodness, because that's this exact same message that I want to spread, is that like it's not always time for you to go big. It's not always time for you to take it to the next level, because it does require more time. So, oh my goodness, thank you so much for not painting this whole mompreneurship in pink and fuzzy colors.
No, it's a lot of work. It is really a lot of work. And so the thing is, though, that if you feel like that you can do it, and you have a little bit more time, or you want to stay up a little later, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
Then, you can take it to the next level. And then once you get there, you can do another assessment and see, okay, well, how much time is this really taking? Can I, hire somebody to help me at this point? And then assess from there before you go on to even the next level. Because you're right, it does take work. And if you go into it where you're thinking that it doesn't, or you're going to just spend the same amount of work, then you're probably going to be disappointed, and then you might give up. And that is the thing that if you want to be successful, you cannot give up. I mean, that is just the bottom line. And so if you put yourself in a situation where it's likely that you're going to give up, then, just don't do that. Do not do that.
And that's overscheduling, overworking. And Jennifer, I'm so happy you're talking about this because, sometimes, like when I was growing the business and I would stay up, and staying up every single night is not good for your marriage, period. That's all I'm going to say. And so it's so important to really balance it and see where, if you do have the time to invest into an online business or to take it to the next level, because it's so important. And then also I love the relationship that you and your husband have, as far as business goes, because you really help each other, and it's so beautiful. And he gives me this idea, and it truly reminds me about my husband and I. Seriously, he came in this morning, set everything up for me, and we're so blessed, Jennifer. We're so blessed. And it's so important to have that clear communication with your spouse about what you're trying to do, what your goals are, because to be honest, if my husband would not support me in this, I would not be doing it. It's not worth it. So
yeah, no, I totally agree. And Bill, he teaches classes in our membership, so he is totally on board. And I wouldn't be doing the live stream thing if it wasn't for my husband. There's just no way. And I think we complement each other really well, because he is very technical, and I'm so blessed to have him and his skills and to, help that way. And then, in other ways too, because I'm up and down, I'm really excited about something, or I'm oh my gosh, that didn't work. And my husband is so just steady, and that just it's so helpful to me. It's so helpful to running a business, that we have both personalities working together, and we complement each other really well. So yes, I'm very blessed. And I would have a really hard time if my husband was not on board with what I was doing.
Yeah, and it's so funny that you say that. I'm this way too, I guess. So are you by any chance ENFP?
I'm not sure what that means.
Okay, Myers-Briggs test. It's okay. Me and I'm just really geeking out about the whole personality stuff. But I'm the same way. When I get excited, I get super, super excited. Mm-hmm. And when I get low, I get really low. And that's when my husband is there, and he's like, babe, no, you can do this. Why are you beating yourself up for... Anyway, So Jennifer, I can talk to you forever. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, no, it's been a pleasure being here, Vicky.
So before I let you go, I want to ask you about the giveaway that you're having, because I think that our mamas would absolutely love it.
Oh, yes. We're having a giveaway. It ends on this Wednesday, October 12th, and we're giving away a Excalibur dehydrator and a Presto canner. So if you head on over to the blog, you'll see how to enter that.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. And I'll link everything in the comments. And it's so funny because I was first introduced to Wardy, and she's a traditional cooking school. Yeah. And I am totally geeking out on all this traditional stuff. When we're going to get a house, when we're going to move in, seriously, canning is on the list. So Jennifer, again, thank you so much for your time, for being here.
Well, thank you for having me, Vicky.
Thank you so much for joining us today on the Mompreneur Show. Oh my goodness, I had such a good time with Jennifer, and I know you could hear it through my voice and hear how excited I am, but it was truly such a wonderful time, and I really hope that you enjoyed it. I know that you had so many questions that I'm sure have been answered in this episode, because Jennifer has been so gracious, sharing her wisdom and sharing her experiences, and I really, really, really appreciated her and appreciate you for being live. I hope you will join us live every single Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, right here on Facebook Live. I'm signing off, your host, Vicky Lashenko, and this is the show that features amazing stories of the most remarkable mom entrepreneurs. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'll see you next time.